Hello again, everybody. It's Dirk. I am in the midst of driving along the beautiful roadways of southern Wisconsin on this Memorial Day weekend. It is Sunday. It is the 30th, and I had a little bit of a change of plans. I generally start my week on Saturdays, which in this case would have been yesterday, or the 29th. But boy, I was down for the count yesterday. On Friday, I went and had my second COVID shot. And holy cow, they weren't kidding. I was forewarned that some people kind of get hit hard by it. Lucky me, I happened to be one of them. So got the shot on Friday afternoon. And I was okay Friday. I was okay. I was a little fatigued later on Friday night. No big deal. But then Sunday morning, I went and woke up Sunday morning, and boy, it sucks to wake up feeling like you have the flu. And that's exactly what happened. From the word go, I was just knocked on my ass. I swear to God, it felt like I was, doing the running of the bulls in Pamplona and got stampeded by a bunch of bulls. Every single muscle, ligament, tendon in my body just ached, sore. That's the whole flu thing. It's like. But what was odd is I wasn't running a fever, which was really bizarre. I've never experienced something like that. So it felt like I was running a fever. I was getting chills. I just felt horrible, but no fever. So it was really kind of strange. So anyway, I had to call off yesterday because there's just no way in hell I should have been behind the wheel of a semi-truck. No way. Even if I pushed myself to gut my way through it, that just would not have been safe. So called off yesterday. I called off again this morning because I was feeling so crappy. And it is now late afternoon. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon, evening. And I'm just beginning to feel a little bit normal again. So still not feeling great, but I'm feeling attentive enough to where I don't think I'm a danger on the road, which is the most important thing. I don't necessarily have to feel like $1 million to do my job. I just don't want to be a rolling hazard. So so that's what I'm doing now. I am rolling in from where I parked my truck for home time, near the Illinois-Wisconsin border, near Lake Michigan, and heading out to lovely Sterling, Illinois, where the Walmart distribution center is. And I figure I'd just come out there this evening, and I'm not going to take an assignment or a load or anything, but I just want to position myself there. So I figure I'd drive out this evening, and then just be ready in the morning for a load. So that's what I'm doing. And while I was driving here, it occurred to me that I'm rapidly approaching the 6-month mark with Schneider and with driving a truck in general. So 6 months is kind of a bit of a milestone from what I've come to learn. It used to be that most trucking companies, if they didn't take inexperienced drivers and train them, it used to always be kind of 1 year. Trucking companies are pretty much across the board. We're looking for at least 1 year, if not more, experience before they would hire you. And I think just with drivers being in such high demand, you always hear about the driver shortage. A lot of the companies have relaxed those requirements a bit. So now you start seeing a lot of these trucking companies that used to be a year, now they're at 6 months. So the 6-month mark is kind of an important one because it opens you up to a lot more opportunities. Now, that being said, I am grateful to Schneider, and I always will be grateful to Schneider. They have treated me very well, and I very well may stay with them for the rest of my time driving. I don't know. But I just thought maybe, at kind of close to 6 months now, I was just kind of, going over in my head, what are some of the pros and cons, what have I liked, what haven't I liked. I didn't sit here with a notepad and write all sorts of stuff down. I mean, I'm literally thinking of this stuff as I'm just driving. So I'm just going off the top of my head and not off of any, studied notes or anything like that. But I can say for certain, one of the things that I really, really admired Schneider for, right at the onset, was the way that they treat people who are inquiring about coming into trucking or inquiring about, what Schneider might have to offer them. I talked to a zillion trucking companies trying to plan out what my direction would be, and I cannot even count how many trucking companies I talked to where the recruiters that I talked to were absolutely useless. If you could get through to anybody, they just wanted to push you off the phone, or they wouldn't give you any information, or oh yeah, just you can contact me by email, and then you send emails and they never get back to you. It's just a lot of unprofessional behavior, very unprofessional behavior. I come from a corporate Fortune 500 background, and that was something that shocked me quite a bit. Especially when you hear about all this, we need drivers, there's a driver shortage, blah, blah, blah. And then they treat people like garbage before they've even hired them. Well, no wonder, guys. If you're having a hard time finding drivers, maybe you should look at the people answering your phones. But anyway, I digress. This was not supposed to be a rant, and I'm not going to allow it to be. So shut up, Dirk. Stop ranting. Okay. But like I said, Schneider was absolutely top-notch professional right from the word go. I called several different times and talked to several different people, whoever was on duty and answered the phone. And everybody I talked to was polite. They were professional. They were more than happy to help out, and most of them knew the answers right away. There were a couple of questions that I had where they had to do the good old I don't know, but I'm going to find out and I'll get back to you, which I never fault somebody for, as long as they follow through. And guess what? They followed through. They did get back to me. So I cannot say enough about how great Schneider's recruiting team is and was with me. They were fantastic. I also think that Schneider's orientation and training crew were absolutely first-rate, top-notch. I have done quite a bit of training as a trainer in my career, and so I do have enough of a background in organizational training and higher level operational training in the airline industry, where I am a little bit of a unique critic with my book of experience. And I do have to say that the folks specifically in Gary, at the Gary Operating Center, when I went through that whole process of orientation and training, every single person that I was in touch with, absolutely fantastic. They really do have an outstanding group of professionals there that really care about what they're doing. And They care about not only helping people, helping new drivers that are coming in, but as importantly, if not more importantly, they understand the responsibility of their position. They understand that if they sign off on somebody and this person becomes a driver and now has a truck and is seated as an AC driver in a truck, this person better know what the hell they're doing. Otherwise, they could cause a lot of harm, injury, and or death. It's a serious business, and I could tell every single one of them took that responsibility to heart, and really wanted to make sure not only were they getting the students or the trainees, I should say, not students. Not only were they trying to get them through the training and making sure they understood everything, but they were really making sure of that. They were making sure that people did truly understand what they were trying to get through. And if they didn't, they had no hesitation in holding somebody back. And as it should be. And, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes people, for whatever reason, a subject, they just don't get it right away and they need a little bit more time. That's great. And they will provide that time. As long as that student, really shows that they're trying and shows that they really are, trying to get it and understand it, they'll take quite a bit of time with them, personal, one-on-one. And I saw it. I saw examples of it. And I was impressed by that because, a lot of these bigger companies, they end up being kind of a, just a production mill, for lack of a better term. If you don't understand or you fall slightly behind or something, out you go. And that's really wasteful because a lot of times you're calling the end on somebody that actually has quite a bit of potential. They're just having a hard time with one particular thing, and that's part of human nature. Some things just baffle us sometimes. We just don't get it. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means maybe the approaches they were taking weren't the right ones for your type of learning. So anyway, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, the training, absolutely fantastic. All the people at the Gary Operating Center, really just great people. I mean, even the cafeteria people, just super nice, just wonderful people there, really. That was something that really struck me. And that kind of continues. Now I'm on this Walmart dedicated account, and the people I deal with, are all Schneider people embedded in the Walmart facility there, and all of the planners, the dispatch. I mean, all of the Schneider folks in that office. Again, great people. They're super nice. They know what they're doing. They're always willing to help, and they're always willing to work with you, and they actually take some time to actually know who the hell you are. And yes, they occasionally do have to ask for your driver number, but hey, they're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of people, so I get it. But before they ask for your driver number, if they do, you can tell they know who you are. So it is a nice environment. It's a good environment to work in. So I do like that a lot about my experience so far about Schneider. Some of the things, there are a few things that I think, what would you say, that need improvement maybe, or things that, are potentially, fine by them, but not so fine by me. For starters, I tend to be, I'm kind of a neat freak. I like to have things clean. I like to have myself clean. I like to have my vehicles clean. I like to have my environment clean, my home clean, my office space clean. I don't like dirt and clutter. And one of the things that's unfortunate about Schneider, and this, I don't know if it's system-wide, I don't have enough experience with that, but the one thing that I noticed right away is that in Gary, the main operating center in Gary, the vast majority of that property is a dirt and gravel lot. And, so consequently you get, potholes and when it rains it turns into a mud pit and huge mud puddles everywhere. And, when it's dry, it's like, okay, great, it's dry, but now you've got dust and dirt flying into your truck if you happen to roll down your windows for a second. Somebody drives by, it's a dust bowl.
Turn left on I-43 south.
That I don't like. Is that a major, huge deal? No, not really. But is it something that annoys me or that I don't like? Yeah, it is. I don't like that. I would like to be able to roll my windows down if I'm parked there. I would like to be able to, walk into the terminal and walk back out without trekking mud into my truck. So that's one thing. And everything that's at Gary, including this truck when I got it, it was supposed to have been cleaned. And I'll never forget it had one of those floor mats in it that you typically see at a mechanic shop or a car wash, whatever, and it said sanitized for your protection on it. The truck was absolutely filthy. I mean, it was disgusting when I got it. First of all, they had these vanilla air fresheners, and I kid you not, they had 2 packs of about 20 of these things hanging from the ceiling. And, they had been hanging in this truck that was completely shut and sealed, windows open or windows closed. Oh my God, the stench. It took, I kid you not, it took 3 months of constant Febrezing and spraying of everything known to man and opening the windows and to get that stench out of this truck. It was awful. And then, you pull out the mattress. I ended up buying a really nice mattress because the mattress that comes with the truck, you feel a bunch of springs poking in your back. It's awful especially if you're a larger and heavier person like I am. So I bought a really nice memory foam mattress. And I pulled that mattress out, and there was a pair of boxer shorts underneath the mattress. And then, and another time I'm cleaning, I find a dirty sock in another part of the truck, and the drawers still had like ketchup shit in them, and I mean every corner and crevice you can imagine had crud in it. I mean, like sticky, goopy crud that had to be scraped out. It was awful. I mean, it's still not completely like up to my standards clean, but at least it's livable. But yeah, that was horrendous. So yeah, I mean, I knew coming in that I would not get a brand new spanking brand new truck all gleaming and shining. So I wasn't expecting that, but I also wasn't necessarily expecting to get a truck. And now it's a 2017, which isn't that bad. I mean, that's not that old. It's got 400 and some thousand miles when I got it. Also, not that bad. These trucks run for 1 million miles plus, so okay. Mechanically it's sound, it's in decent shape, and that's really all you need. That's how you make your money. But the thing that was a bummer that I found out very quickly is that, at the time when Schneider bought these trucks, they spec'd them out pretty bare bones. So you've got no refrigerator. You've got an inverter in the truck, but the inverter is essentially useless because it's 1200 watts. A 1200 watt inverter that will only run for 2 hours max. And then it has to shut down and recalibrate or whatever the hell. So you can't even run a coffee maker off of that. Anything that makes coffee is 1500 watts. So, no APU, no EPU. If you want air conditioning, you got to idle the truck. Well, you can't idle the truck if the temperature is below 70 degrees.
Construction was reported
Which,
on I-43.
sounds reasonable, except if you take spring in Chicago or spring in the entire Midwest into account, because in springtime you have these rainy periods, which we just recently had, where you have, days on end of rain, and the humidity goes through the ceiling. So you have like 90 some odd percent humidity, even though the temperature is only like 65 or 68. It's horrible. You can't sleep in it. It's like you're in a bath of humidity. So, there are a couple nights on the truck where it's like, okay, it won't idle because it's 69 degrees overnight, but it's like 98% humidity. So it's like you're just lying there in a pool of sweat. So that sucked. But anyway, is what it is. I'm brand new in the industry, fine. You get an older truck, that's fine too. But it would have been nice, had they made it a little bit more comfortable for the drivers. No refrigerator, no way of keeping a refrigerator because, again, you have an inverter that's useless. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. So, that was kind of a downside with Schneider. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, it wasn't just, Gary that was a dust bowl in a mud pit. Where I park my truck at a drop yard, that's also gravel and dirt and a filthy mess. And I don't know, it just seems like that's a Schneider thing. Like a lot of their places are just dirt. Luckily, working on this Walmart account, I'm spending my nights and most of my time as far as like having to maneuver or get in and out of the truck at this Walmart DC, and of course because it's Walmart, the entire facility is concrete, so they do it right. The whole facility is nice, smooth, clean concrete, as it should be, with trucks and trailers everywhere. But yeah, anyway. And I think the final thing that, is a very big, obvious thing, which I would say is a con with Schneider, and that's the money. Because quite frankly, the money, it really does suck. And I know that they do a lot of, advertising and, a lot of claim of pushing that, oh, we've done all of these recent pay increases, and we just recently raised our driver pay by like 13% or 14%. Well, great, that's wonderful, but 13 or 14% of nothing is nothing. If you were applying 13 or 14% to executive level Schneider pay, that would be a sizable chunk of money. However, when you apply it to people that are making very, very low wages, it's pretty meaningless. It ends up being, what, $20 a week, maybe, at the most? So, it's all smoke and mirror bullshit. I think, and this isn't just a Schneider thing, this is kind of an industry-wide thing. I think a lot of these trucking companies, and there are exceptions, but a lot of these trucking companies, they're their own worst enemies, because, if you're hiring in new people and, you're making the investment of bringing them on and you're training them how to, do things your way and all that stuff, I would think that retention would be a big deal, would be a bigger deal than it is. And, it's like, how do you expect to retain somebody when, let's face it, the people coming into this business in recent years are probably a little bit more savvy as far as, how things work in the job market than maybe they once were. And, if you hire these people in at slave slave labor wages with the, with the understanding that, well, that's just the way it is, and you have to bide your time, and then all of a sudden you start making good money. People resent that. And I think that's what these trucking companies don't understand. They're so eager to get cheap labor while they can, but then they scratch their head and wonder why these people leave the company. Well, people leave the company because there are other companies that'll pay them better, obviously. But the thing I think that they're missing is that even if they were to come back at that point and say, okay, well, we'll match that pay, or maybe we'll even give you a cent more or whatever, a lot of the people would still leave. And the reason for that is because they know that you've been taking advantage of them for months. And people don't like that. People don't like to be taken advantage of. People don't like to be doing the same job that other people are doing, and doing it as well, if not better than a lot of them, and getting paid a fraction, all because of tenure. Tenure is a bullshit system. It always has been, it always will be. I think it's a bullshit system in the education field. Tenure just means that you've gotten lazy. Tenure means that you've developed bad habits and you take shortcuts. There are a lot of downsides to tenure. But again, that's an entire different discussion. So I won't go too deep off of that end. But the point being that I think if these companies would pay more fairly right off the onset, and be better at making sure their drivers not only are surviving, like getting basic necessities, but yeah, sorry about the intermission. Had one of the camera batteries die. So anyway, back to my whole rant there. Back to my point. Essentially, what I was trying to get at is that I think the companies, by and large, if they would invest a little bit more on the front end and pay their people a little bit more fairly, new people, I think they would see their retention rates go way up. And instead of what is happening now, where people just use these companies for training and then they move on. Because I'm sure that's got to cost something to them as well. So, who am I to say? I'm not the trucking executive. I'm not the person in charge of these types of decisions. Excuse me. But I don't know. Maybe I just have my own thoughts on that, and I'm always of the school that if you treat people well, I mean, yeah, you're going to have some bad eggs here and there, but generally speaking, I think people will rise to the level at which they're treated. I think that's also part of human nature. And I think if you treat people disrespectfully, they'll act disrespectfully. And if you pay people a bottom wage, they're going to give you bottom wage until they leave. There's something to be said for, making it known to new people that, hey, we pay more because we expect more. And people will rise up to that challenge because there is that incentive where you are paying more. Personally, if I had my own trucking company, and again, this is coming from somebody who has not been a trucking executive, and there's lots of stuff about the industry that I do not know, and I'm the first to admit that. But conceptually, what I would love to try to do if I had my own company would be to hire all drivers on at the exact same pay, the exact cent per mileage, everything exactly the same. Because especially in trucking, all of those things, accessorial charges or accessorial pay, cents per mile, per diem, all these different things that make up what you bring home, All of those are opportunity in trucking. In other words, you still have to do the work to get those things. So it's not like paying a salary where you would be paying all these different drivers the exact same salary. I would not be in favor of that because it doesn't take productivity into mind. Productivity is everything in my book. You should be paid for productivity, not for tenure. If you're producing for the company, you should make more than somebody that isn't producing for the company. It's that simple. And I think a trucking company that would take a 20, 30-year veteran driver and also somebody who just got their CDL and has just been trained and is in their first solo truck, pay them the exact same wages, because that experienced trucker should be able to make more money simply because of the fact that they know the game, they know the business, they have the ability to drive long periods more so than somebody new coming into the industry. They know the ins and outs. They know they can get stuff done quicker. They can park quicker. They can hook and unhook trailers quicker. They can get in and out of customers quicker. They can do all of these things faster. They can manage their DOT clocks far better than somebody who is new, and that's a major component of how much money you can make driving a truck. So the experienced driver in that situation, that 20-year dude or dudette, would be making more money without a doubt. So it is fair. However, if you have somebody who's brand new that is an incredibly quick learner and that really gets it and really hustles and is able to produce at the same level as that 20-year veteran driver, why should he be paid differently? I don't think they should be. Again, I don't believe in tenure. I think tenure is bullshit. It allows people to hide behind it and become lazy. And it cheats the people that are not tenured. So anyway, that's the end of that discussion. Those are just my thoughts. Take it or leave it. You don't have to agree. That's just how I feel. And that's just based on my observations of 55 years on the planet in various industries. But going back to Schneider, one of the things I actually forgot when I was talking earlier about the cleanliness issue, one of the things that really, really does irk me, more so than just all the dirt lots and all of that stuff, it really does bother me. And I'm surprised, actually, it bothers me as much as it does. But Schneider has no provision for truck washes. I have asked several different people, and all of them kind of throw their hands in the air and say, there really isn't anything. Meaning that as a company driver assigned to this truck, if I ever want to get this truck washed, it comes out of my pocket. Schneider will not pay for a truck wash. And that's amazing to me. A company that large, and I mean, let's face it, you're a trucking company. What is the image of your company? The image of your company is not the offices at your headquarters or whatever. It's your trucks. Your trucks are rolling advertisements all across the nation. You've got tens of thousands of pieces of equipment that are rolling around all of the interstates of America, and they are a rolling example of your company. And Schneider, everything is filthy. The trailers are filthy, the tractors are filthy. This truck, I honestly don't think this truck has been washed since the day it was assembled. It is so dirty, it would take a detail team a week to get this thing back to clean, if you could even do it. It is that bad. And, it's an embarrassment to drive around in something this dirty, but I don't make enough money to be able to afford to pay for truck washes. I'm sorry, I've got to eat. I've got to pay my bills. I don't have spare change at the end of my expenses to be able to wash the truck. And I think it's frankly, it's rather insulting of Schneider to have that attitude of well, sorry, you got to do it yourself. We're not paid enough to do it ourselves. And it's not our equipment, it's your equipment. And it's not our company reputation, it's your company reputation. So here I am as a driver. Every point of contact I have with other people, whether it be a clerk at a truck stop or another driver, or most importantly, a customer, whether they be shipper or receiver, I'm the epitome of professionalism. I'm incredibly friendly. I'm very polite. I'm very diplomatic. I'm patient. I'm understanding. I immediately try to show that I empathize with them and their situation. I'm pretty good at getting people to lighten up and enjoy their experience with me, however brief it may be, and brighten their day a little bit. And as far as my obligation to helping Schneider's image in a meaningful way, that's it. That's what I can do, and I do it. But here I am rolling into these customers in a truck that is embarrassingly filthy. I know it's a rate game, just like the air cargo industry was. At the end of the day, it's all about rates. I get it. But I also get that it goes deeper than that. People in decision-making positions do actually think of more than just rates. And the way you represent your company is an important thing. That's why airlines clean their planes, not to mention the fact that dirt on an airplane fuselage actually adds up to quite a bit of weight, and weight is fuel burn, and fuel burn is money. But the same could be said for trucks. Right now I'm probably carrying around 500 to 1,000 pounds of dirt all over this truck and trailer. That's adding to the fuel burn, which is adding to the expense. So, yes, it is costing money. Maybe that's a silly thing, but I don't think so. The airlines don't think so. I don't think trucking companies should dismiss that either. It's a real thing. Dirt weighs something. But I look at competitors on the road. I'm on the road a lot, obviously. And I'm watching trucks from Werner drive by, and Swift drive by, and Rail drive by, and all these different companies, and they're clean. Their trucks are consistently clean. And they look nice. That I don't know. It leaves an impression. And I don't. You can make all the the Swift jokes and all of that stuff. Yeah, okay. But from a customer perspective, they look pretty damn sharp. So anyway, I won't go on and on and on about that. I already have. But that is one thing that really does bother me. I like to take pride in what I drive. My cars are always clean. They're always well kept. I just don't like looking like a schmuck. And driving for Schneider, unfortunately, I feel like a bit of a schmuck because I'm driving this filthy frickin' truck, and that kind of reflects on me, and I don't like that. So those are my cons, I guess. And in the bigger picture, is that such a gigantic, horrible deal? No, it isn't, of course. It's not hindering my ability to drive. It's not hindering my ability to run the loads I need to run to make money. So at the end of the day, it's not, it's not something like catastrophically awful. It's just, like I said, needs improvement. If that's something that they might be able to think about changing, that would be a great thing. But the one thing that is meaningful and could potentially be something that would cause somebody like myself to go to some other company would be the pay. And the pay, mean, it's okay, I suppose. But when I look at the amount of hours that I put in and the amount of work that I do compared to what I am making and taking home, it's not cutting it. It's a lot of effort and work for not nearly enough reward, and I think that's a bigger issue. Is it a terminal issue? I don't think so. But let's see what happens when once I hit the 6-month mark. If I start getting phone calls, hey, that could be something. So I hope not. I like the company overall, and I especially like the people. I like running Walmart stuff. So I like the job that I'm doing. So we'll see how, obviously those are important things as well. So it's not all about money. But money is an important part of that whole picture. So anyhow, that's it. I just wanted to kind of give an overview of where I'm at. A couple weeks shy of 6 months in, rolling with Schneider. And overall, I think they're an excellent company, an outstanding company. I think their training is absolutely top-notch, even though there are those that will be out there complaining that, they just, 3 weeks of training isn't nearly enough. Well, Schneider's also been around for a long, long, long time, and they have been training drivers longer than some of these other trucking companies have even been in existence, and have been doing so successfully. And they put a lot of drivers on the road, and a lot of Schneider trained drivers are driving with other companies and are very successful and have not had all sorts of accidents and horrible things happen. So don't just look at how many weeks is their training. Look at the quality of that training, because you could be with a company that wants to put you on the road with a trainer for 30 or 50,000 miles or some crap before you'll get a solo truck. But does that mean that you've been trained well? Not necessarily. If they stick you with a schmuck for 30,000 miles, you may not learn a damn thing. Or even worse, you may learn all of their bad habits. So length of time is no way to critique a training protocol. And I think Schneider really has their ducks in a row. I think they really do a great job. And again, I have corporate training in my background, and I was very impressed with it. So overall, I think Schneider is fantastic. I'm very happy I'm here, and I'm extremely appreciative of everything they've done for me. And that all weighs into the equation as well. So anyway, that's it for now, and hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's enjoying their Memorial Day weekend, and we'll have a little bit more later.